We're back trying to predict what we're going to see from the NFL in Week 13.
Inside, and a beauty! Hall running free! Breece Hall inside the 10! He's gonna score!
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and before we hop into today's video, guys, if you want to become a member of the Talking Jets with Tigo Patreon or become a citizen of Tigoslavia, as I like to call it, go into the description to find the links to the Patreon. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you can help support the channel and really help get things going on here. I am a stay-at-home dad, and this is the only thing I do to bring in money right now as a stay-at-home dad and a full-time student. Also, if you want to get some Talking Jets with Tigo merch in the description below, there are links to that as well. All of these episodes are brought to in part by you guys. So any help and any support that I get from you guys is greatly appreciated. But let's hop right into the video. We're going to try to do the impossible, and that is predict the absolute chaos that is the NFL. And we're going to try to predict every single game in the NFL, who's going to win and why. Let's hop right into it. Thursday night football. Let's start there. The Buffalo Bills travel to New England to play the New England Patriots, and this should be a Buffalo Bills victory. It should be. Buffalo is a better team, and Buffalo should win that game. Now, if New England wins that game, that does a lot of really interesting playoff implications and things like that, because the way I have the rest of the games playing out, that would put the Jets at the top of the AFC East, and that would have all four teams in the AFC East making the playoffs at that point. But I think the Buffalo Bills are the better team, and they should beat the New England Patriots. Then we move on to Sunday, and let's start with an AFC matchup. A great competition between Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson's first active NFL game in it seems like 7 years. And of course, because the NFL is the NFL, it's going to be against his former team in the Houston Texans. And of course, it's in Houston, but the Houston Texans are by far and away the worst team in football. And while the Cleveland Browns aren't great, and they're not a team that I look at as oh my gosh, they're like super good and any of those things, they should at least be able to beat the Texans. If they lose to the Texans, I have no idea what the Browns are, but whatever it is, they wasted all of those picks getting Deshaun Watson. They should blow it up. Moving on, we move on to the Denver Broncos at the Baltimore Ravens. And this is one of those things where I hate that I'm giving the Baltimore Ravens a win, but the Denver Broncos are broken. They are at a breaking point. They are about to blow up that team, in my opinion, and I think that they should. Baltimore gets another win, moving themselves to 8-4. Absolutely setting themselves in a great position to win their division, because the next game that we're going to predict is the Kansas City Chiefs at the Cincinnati Bengals. And I got to take the better team here in Kansas City. I think that Kansas City is playing exceptionally well. I think they're playing fantastic football. I think they are high-flying, and they are the only offense in the NFL that I think is more high-flying and more dynamic than the Cincinnati Bengals. And that's based purely on the fact that they have one of the best, if not the best, tight end in football in Travis Kelce, and they've got the best quarterback in football in Patrick Mahomes. And when you've got a combination of the best quarterback in football and great weapons around him, and an offensive line that's doing their job, and a defense that's kind of okay in Cincinnati, what are you going to do? Kansas City wins that, and then we get another matchup that I really, really wanted to go the other way, but in a good and fair conscience, I couldn't have this team beating the other one, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Vegas to play the Raiders. The Raiders something's broken in Las Vegas. That team isn't performing to the level of talent that they have. I know that Josh Jacobs just had himself a game, but I think the Chargers are better. Now, if the Raiders won, that would be fantastic for the New York Jets and their playoff aspirations, because it pushes a team that we're competing with in the wild card spot further away from a spot in the playoffs. But I can't say it in good conscience that the Vegas Raiders are going to win a game, at all. Then we move on to an NFC matchup, the Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears. And even though this game is happening in Chicago, the Chicago Bears are a bad football team, and I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to win that game. Aaron Rodgers finds a way to beat the Chicago Bears every time he plays them. It's like he has their number. It's a team that he does super well against, but ultimately, I think the Green Bay Packers, even if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play and he's hurt and they start Jordan Love, I still think that the Green Bay Packers are better than the Chicago Bears, and we have to see with Justin Fields if he's playing, because if not, from what I saw from Trevor Siemian and that offense in Chicago, I don't see how they're going to beat the Green Bay Packers. The next matchup is the Washington Commanders at the New York Giants. And the Giants, I have the Giants walking away with a win here. I believe more in the Giants than I do in the Washington Commanders. I like the Giants. I am being a little bit biased here because I did not know how to separate these teams. Washington is playing exceptionally well. They've got incredible moxie with Taylor Heineke under center, and they've got weapons and all that stuff, but I like it when the G-Men and New York wins, and when New York is winning football, everything is better in the world, so I have the Giants winning this game. It's probably going to be a really, really close game. And then the last NFC matchup on Sunday is the Seattle Seahawks traveling to the Los Angeles Rams to play the Rams. And the Rams just are too hurt to be a competitive football team right now. And the Seahawks are still competing for a playoff spot, like legitimately. And so they're going to come out there really, really playing hard football, trying to make up for the fact that, they lost to the Raiders in overtime last week, which is a loss that they probably shouldn't have gotten. The Seahawks probably should have won that game, and so they're going to try to make that up by taking advantage of a battered and bruised Rams team and get a win away and improve to 7-5 and putting themselves back in the playoff picture. And then we move on to AFC versus NFC matchups, and we're going to start with the New York Jets traveling to Minnesota to play at Minnesota. I have the New York Jets winning this game. If you want to know why, subscribe to the channel, as we're going to be talking about it all week. And then we move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars flying to Detroit to play the Lions, and I have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning this game. While the Lions have been playing a much more impressive brand of football as of late, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are further along in their rebuild, and so I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. And then we get our next matchup, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm going to give the win here to the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers season is over. They are 4-7, beating the Indianapolis Colts on Monday Night Football was a great thing for their season, but I think Atlanta really thinks and believes, as they should, that they can still make the playoffs, especially with how weak the NFC South is. They are within a game of the Buccaneers, and so I think they're going to play their absolute hearts out. It's in Atlanta, and we know that Atlanta has one of the better stadiums, but they also have a great fan base out there. And the Steelers are just struggling to get things going on offense and defense. And so I'm going to have the Atlanta Falcons winning this game. Then we have the Tennessee Titans flying and playing at the Philadelphia Eagles. And I just took the better team here. I think Philadelphia is better than the Titans. The Titans really only have one threat on offense, and that's Derrick Henry. Trading away A.J. Brown, look at that, wasn't a good idea. And then you look at the A.J. Brown revenge game aspect of it. I think the better team wins here. I think Philly wins here. So not much to talk about there. Next game we're going to look at is going to be the Miami Dolphins traveling across the country to play the San Francisco 49ers. And I have the San Francisco 49ers winning this game. The San Francisco 49ers improve to 8-4. The Miami Dolphins fall to 8-4. And there's a couple of things that go into play with this game for me. One is the travel. Traveling across the country is brutal. And to travel across the country to play a good defense and a good offense in San Francisco is incredibly difficult. And so when you add all of those things together, and the fact that Miami doesn't have the best defense, and San Francisco's offense is incredibly deep and has a lot of weapons, this game could possibly end up being a shootout. And I would love to see it be a shootout, but I have the travel coming out on top here in San Francisco winning this game. And then the last Sunday game, AFC versus NFC, which is the Indianapolis Colts versus the Dallas Cowboys. I just took the better team here. Dallas Cowboys win. They improved to 9-3. And that's it. Indianapolis is fun with Jeff Saturday and all that stuff, but they're just not a good football team. And so that's that right there. And then we end with Monday Night Football. The New Orleans Saints travel to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I just took the better team. I think the Buccaneers should win this game. I know that they just lost to the Browns in overtime, but like they should win this game, right? And either way, the NFC South is really, really interesting and dynamic because like all four teams can really still make a shot at winning their division and making the playoffs. But I'm going to have the Bucs winning here. And they go to 6-6, securing their spot at the top of the NFC South, but just barely because the Falcons are 6-7, and the Falcons still need a bye week, which they get the week after, and the Bucs play the San Francisco 49ers the week after, so they have to travel across the country. So a lot of really interesting matchups. This is the part of the season where we're going to see a lot of games that like shouldn't matter, or like AFC versus NFC matchups that like normally wouldn't matter really matter because every game is going to have division implications. And when you look at divisions like the AFC East or the NFC East and the NFC South, where everybody is still competing for a spot there, really, really cool to see how these matchups are going to play out, especially because I don't have a dog in the race when it comes to an NFC team winning, so I can just be a fan of football when I watch those games. But guys, let me know what you think about my predictions on who wins and why. Let me know in the comment section below what you agree with and what you disagree with. Leave a like on the way out. And last but not least, go Jets.